Alright, welcome back everybody. This is Fuzzy Psycho, and today I'm starting a new series for World of Tanks about scouting. Haven't decided what I'm going to name it just quite yet, but I'm going to try and cover all of the scouting maps. There are several where having a good scout will be the difference between winning and losing, right? So today we're going to cover Murovanka. The other maps I'll be looking at and hopefully doing videos on for this series will be Prokhorovka, Malinovka, Redshire, Steppes, possibly even Lakeville, maybe even a few others. But today we're going to cover Murovanka. And one thing I've noticed on Murovanka, here, let me make my map a little bigger. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of scouts running down the 3-4 line right here where I'm moving my mouse. They'll come down through and jump back over, or maybe they'll even come up here and do this, and I really don't understand why people are doing that. In my opinion, the 8-9 line of this map whoever wins on the 8-9 line will win the game on this map 70 or 80% of the time. That's just the way it works. The 1, 2, 3 line areas, that's usually a static fight that's just horrible, right? That fight will usually grind on until one side or the other wins in the forest and flanks around behind them. So today I'm going to show you what I do for Malinovka, and this is just in this replay, this isn't a great replay, it isn't a great scouting replay, it's just the best I had, and I do know it's tier 6 and all that, but the point still applies. So after what I said about the 8-9 line, whichever team wins the 8-9 line wins the match, like 70 to 80% of the time, this is the side you need to be scouting on, right? Absolutely. And this place where I'm going here, I'm going to this middle ridge here on the 7 line, and this is a fairly common run, or I mean, should be. Hasn't been all that common lately that I've seen, but this is what you need to be doing. You need to be playing on this flank, because a lot of times you will spot the enemy team going to the forest and get a lot of assistance damage and weaken their team on that flank before the fight ever starts over there, right? And even if you don't, just making sure that their scout doesn't take this position and secure this advantage for their team is well worth making the run. You don't actually have to stay here. Like, if you get in trouble, take a few shots for doing this, then relocate. I mean, but just stopping them initially, giving your team time to move across and get in position on the 8-9-0 line, wherever they're wanting to go, that's your job. Like, you're protecting them by stopping their scout from being able to pop up, having their team shoot at you instead of your team as they're passing by, because let's face it, you're in a faster tank, you're in a scout tank, they're more likely to miss you than they are your team running across the map behind you. So this is absolutely worth doing. Even if you get no assistance damage for it, this is what you need to do. And here I'm showing you from this spot, you can actually put shots onto the 3-4 line if you need to. This is just an incredibly powerful spot to have and to control for your team on this map. And that's just my opinion on it. Take it with a grain of salt. But I will say that I've been around this game for a long time, and I'm pretty good in my scout tanks. I know what I'm doing. So it is just my opinion, but let's face it, I'm right. I'm not saying that if you're going down the other side, the 3-4 line, you're useless. I mean, you're not far from useless in my opinion, but you're not useless and you may have a good game doing that. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong though. That just means your team had to carry a little harder and be a little more creative to make up for you making the 34 line run instead of this run, right? And I mean, granted, sometimes you have 2-3 scouts on your team, and maybe you see 1 or 2 people already coming over here, and then if you want to do a 3-4 line run, sure, have at it. You know, why not? But even if you do already have scouts coming to this location, here's the thing. If your team has 3 scouts, the enemy team has 3 scouts. So if your scouts are split up, say one of you goes to the 9 line, one of you goes to the 7 line, one of you goes to the 3-4 line, and the enemy team sends all their scouts to the 7 line, they're probably going to win that spot and control it for the rest of the map. So even if there are multiple scouts on your team, going to this location just to ensure that, you know, you're trying to control this spot, that's not wasted time. There is a purpose to going there, even if it's just to help your team scouts win the fight for that area. That's my opinion on it. But as you can see, the enemy team is actually winning. They're up by a tank, and they're gonna kind of stay up by a tank. For some reason, my team doesn't want to push out of the forest. They're kind of being a little slow about it. Yes, I could go run up there and scout ahead of them, but I know the enemy team didn't hang around there. They never do, right? If you lose the forest, you fall back to K3, K4, like 9 times out of 10. There won't be anything there for them to shoot at until they get up about where the cap is, right? So that's just, yeah, the way it works. And for some reason, I see the South Spawn team on this map. They don't really want to fight for the forest. And if you do get the South Spawn and your team isn't going there, I would still make the run to the 7 line. If nothing else, it's a bluff. And what you're doing is you're telling the enemy team that, hey, I've got backup. I'm over here lighting you, and you're probably going to get shot for it, whether they will or not. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just the fact that you're doing that run at the start is going to slow them down. They're not going to want to push through the forest as fast. So it'll give your team a little more time to try and YOLO up the 1-2-3 line and win that way, which, ugh, that would be, I hate seeing that, but it is what it is. It happens. But you see, what this position I've taken here is exactly why camping down in the southwest corner is a mistake. Because me in this location by myself is enough to help my team tear them apart over there. Now, here's something else not specifically related to scouting, but just something to do when you're playing. I see my team, 3 of them are on the cap. They're trying to cap out to win this game. So I take a spot in the bush, spotting anything coming back to the cap. And I'm going to try and stop this guy from getting there. Yes, I'm going to get lit. I may die for it, but I'm trying to ensure that that I get the win, however I get it. That's just something you can use, and it's something to keep in mind when you're playing, no matter what kind of tank you're in, right? It's you screen for the cap if needed. But that's all I have on Murovanka. Feel free to tell me if you think I'm wrong in any of my opinions on this map. Um, you're welcome to argue with me on it. I doubt you'll change my mind, but hey, I'm not going to. I'm not going to say that you're absolutely 100% wrong or I'm absolutely right. This is just my opinion on this map. So, there you go, Murovanka and how I think you need to play as a scout on this map. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.